Hey, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be a little bit different. We're going to be going over some tips and tricks that I've learned on how to improve my artwork and some people who have inspired me. But before we get into the video, I want to mention that I have stickers available. These are the current designs I have available on my shop. I will link it in the description. The design that we are going to be making today will also be available, but for a limited time. So get yours while you can. It will be sometime in July that I'll update you guys more when it comes time. But sometime in July will be when it ends. So head over to the link in the description and go get yours while you still can. So hope you guys enjoy the video. Okay, so starting off with tip number 1, practice as much as you can. Yeah, I know a lot of other people say this, and you know what? They are totally 100% right. It might sound cliche, but you know what? The more practice you get, the more time you have to figure out what you're doing right and what you are doing wrong. So I can't encourage that enough. Practice as much as you can in your free time. That first one was pretty short, but tip number 2 is inspiration. I get a lot of my inspiration from social media. Other artists do influence a lot of my artwork. Like, for example, I'm sorry if I butcher this, but Lord Gris, I'll post a screenshot of her stuff over here. She is an amazing artist, and she always does these draw this in your style challenge, and I can't get enough of those. And I visit her page almost every day just to get inspiration, whether I'm drawing or not. But she does make stickers and stuff, and she posts them like around her town or city, whatever. And I really like that. So yeah, I get a lot of inspiration from her. And Be Reckless on Instagram, I'll also put a screenshot over here. They made these color palettes. There's 2 that I've seen so far that I use pretty much on all my drawings. The colors are amazing, and I cannot get enough of them. So yeah, if you're not already following them, go ahead and go follow them over there on Instagram. And yeah, they're amazing. Don't get me wrong, there's a lot of other artists that inspire my work, but those are the 2 that I can think of off the top of my head. And on to tip number 3, proportions. I've seen a lot of artists' work where it looks really, really nice, but the proportions are off, or they don't really know how to do proportions the right way. And it can either make or break a drawing. So my tip on how to fix proportions or get proportions correctly is using guidelines to sketch out your proportions, and also using reference. Using references are major in artwork. I never used to use them, and once I started using them, it changed my artwork majorly. So that is definitely a key ingredient in making you progress in artwork. Another thing that kind of goes along in this category is perspective. I don't usually do a whole lot of perspective drawings, but in this current drawing that I'm doing right now, I wanted her to be looking down a little bit instead of straight on, because she was meant to be inspired by like a tiger, and tigers usually like stalk their prey, you know, and they're like looking downwards but looking up, you know. And so that's kind of what I went for this one. So yeah, perspective does kind of incorporate into that category as well. Tip number 4 is going to be line art. Making sure that your line art, if you do use any, is very clean and crisp, or yeah, that's the same thing with the proportions. I've seen a lot of artwork get kind of not ruined, but it just looks better if they do it more crisp and clean. And another thing is I used to use black line art, but once I started using colored line art, it also changed my artwork. It makes everything look less boring, quote unquote boring, I guess, and gives it some character and gives it some uniqueness to it. And I can't recommend that enough. I usually try to stick with one color. So in this one that I'm doing right now, I stuck with red, like a darker red maroon color. You don't have to just do red. You can do whatever color corresponds with your drawing. So like this one was mostly orangish and reddish colors, so that's why I chose the color that I did. But you can always make different parts of your drawings different colors and make it even more unique, but this is just what I chose to do. It's all up to you on what you want to do. And another thing is, I don't always do this, but it does make the artwork look better, dare I say, but making the lines thicker and thinner. You have to use, well, you don't have to, but using different size line art, what do you call it? Using different size strokes, I guess, makes your drawing stand out. So usually what people do would be to do like smaller brush strokes in the center of the drawing, and then maybe like a thicker outline, which I've seen a lot of them that look really cool doing that. And I actually learned that from Jazza now, but it was Draw with Jazza, and I kind of stuck with that like ever since I learned that. Not so much now, but before, yeah, I used to. And well, I mean, kind of even now I use white around the edges, so I mean kind of the same, I don't know, maybe not, but yeah, use thicker and thinner lines and it'll make your drawing stand out. So this isn't really like a tip, but adding a base layer and then adding shading like on top of it, which is going to be my next tip, makes it so much easier. And last but not least, tip number 5, shading. Don't get me started about this one. So a lot of people think that I'm gonna do shading, I'm gonna do shadows, I have to do like darker colors like brown or black. No, that's not the case. So what I've learned is that your highlights are going to be warmer and your shadows are going to be cooler. So for the highlights you want to use warm colors, and for the shading you want to use cooler colors like purples, blues, and greens. And that has changed my art a lot over the years, and I still use it to this day. So like instead of using brown or different colors like that, I use either a bit of a darker shade than the color that I'm currently using for the base color, or I use like pinks, reds, or purples, and that really brings out your artwork and makes it look unique and makes it pop. And same with the highlights. You don't really want the shadows to be too dark, and you don't want those highlights to be too light, or else it'll make your drawing look confusing. I've had a couple drawings that have turned out that way. And yeah, so you want to do it like a couple shades lighter than the skin tone, and the shadows a couple shades darker than the skin tone, and that really helps. I'm gonna end this voiceover here, and let me know in the comments if these tips helped you guys, and if you guys enjoyed this video, and if you guys would like to see more of these kinds of videos where I give you tips on how to like improve your art, or any other kinds of advice that I can give you. But yeah, if you guys are interested in seeing the designs that I have on my shop, it'll be linked in the description. If you think that you have a friend in mind that would like the designs, go ahead and share it with them. Share it with your family, your friends, you know. And yeah, it'll really help me out. It'll help support the channel. And so I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope to see you guys in the next video.